We're going to do a video now that we haven't done before, specifically talking about a kind or a type of injury. And there are some injuries that are much more difficult to prove in court than others. Obviously, a broken arm is going to be easier to prove than, say, a herniated disc, because you can look at the x-ray and see the broken bone very clearly. One injury that I would like to talk to you about today that we see in our practice that is very complex, very difficult sometimes to prove in court, is called mild traumatic brain injury, commonly known as MTBI. Mild traumatic brain injury is not always associated with some of the things that you would see with a head injury, such as loss of consciousness, even being out of it, or altered mental state, as the doctors will call it. It's not associated all the time with hitting your head on anything. Simply whipping your head back and forth can give someone a mild traumatic brain injury. Now, why would you want to potentially consult with an attorney on one of these cases? It's because that most of the medical treatment, medical diagnostics that we see right now, where we are at this point in history, doesn't give us great answers on whether or not a person has a mild traumatic brain injury. More often than not, it's diagnosed through a physical examination, and you may be saying, well, Ryan, there's a brain MRI. That's true, we have those. But in a mild traumatic brain injury case, you're not going to see a brain bleed on an MRI. There are new types of MRI that are very cutting edge, and attorneys are aware of those, insurance companies are aware of those. Those are some of the things that we can look at as ways of helping a client quantify, understand, diagnose what could be a mild traumatic brain injury. And these can be disabling injuries. Obviously, any injury to your brain can result in permanent changes to your personality, to your demeanor, to your emotional stability. Many times it results in mood swings, depression, anxiety, insomnia, even pituitary problems where you can no longer make the hormones that you used to be able to make. So they're at some level, some people call them invisible injuries because they can't always be seen. And if you know anyone that potentially has some of these symptoms, and you can do your research on some of the symptoms of a mild traumatic brain injury, it's a very serious thing. And there are options, there are ways of treating it. And I would encourage you to consult with an attorney to figure out if there are options that can be used to help you in getting some answers.